Right now, I'm pretty late. I'm as late as can be, but as they say, better late than never. El Pastor, we're gonna skip the disclaimer today and get dialed in. SOPA and ARBK are the top two. There are probably others that are looking good, but being that I'm late, I'm just gonna watch these two and then I'll go from there. I don't know what I was thinking, man. You know what happened? I'm like, I want to eat something, and so I went to go fry some eggs, and that this is at 8:50. I look back and it's freaking 9:20. I'm like, there's no way I took that long. But anyhows, better late than never. So SOPA and ARBK, they're looking decent, especially ARBK, which is really has been strong the last couple of minutes here. So keeping an eye on both of them and watching here into the open to see if we get some strength early. We got 30 seconds to market open. So, of course, hit that thumbs up. And let's look forward to being disciplined traders here today. SF is in the building. What's up, guys? For those of you in the chat room. I don't mind waiting the first 2 to 3 minutes if nothing looks obvious right away. SPRB, is it not tradable? I'm going to check here. Well, it's letting me. Is that a different ticker maybe? SPRB? Okay. This one is tradable though. That's good. Good push for SOPA right there. Highs are at 34. It's not holding up for a 1 minute uptrend, at least not yet. So giving it time. ARBK has been at 62 for lows. It is above the VWAP, which I do like. Let me check the chat. ONMD. SOPA has potential, but, can we hold over 30 this time? So just waiting patiently here until something gives a good move. AMDD, it's not the chart that I typically go for. Um, it's also red. Not sure if a lot of traders might be paying attention to it, so unless it keeps going, for now I think I'll leave it alone. Definitely a good size move here though. ARBK, red to green, potentially over 63. We're at 66. How's the volume though? And are we volatile? If it's very slow moving, you know, the longer hold trades could work if you're in the right area, but for the scalps, we want to see that volatility in the price action. $600 million share float till definitely will be the longer hold for people trading that one. It'll be good at least though if it holds the VWAP and can keep curling slowly for the people watching at it. SOPA struggling just a little bit. How about SPRB from pre-market? It is halted down. Now with a move like this, I know Ross has to be up massively. Massive. 21 to 37 in one go. 2 candles, 3 candles. It's halting up at 39.13. And ARBK did not hold the VWAP there. It's back down a bit. I don't know. I think, I mean, if this is the one that's going to be going, the dip and rip, I'll be watching the dip and rip here. I didn't realize the resumption was so close, or else I would have like had the level 2 open as well. Looks like it was halted maybe the first minute. It's definitely going to be a little bit more high risk. Ideally, I'd like to see the stock resume a little higher, give a small push, pull back, and then retest the highs, preferably making a new high. 39.13. There's 2 minutes 55 seconds to go. Damn, what a move. Holy smokes. Yeah, that's a massive move for AMD right there. The Bulls are here. All right, there's a minute 25 seconds to the resumption. If this stock is strong and it'll be going to 50, 60, you know, it's still pretty early in the move, relatively speaking. We're right at the pre-market highs. And of course, we'll be looking for it to push through and give an uptrend here. It's showing 41.11. There's 30 seconds. It's fluctuating. Looks like we will resume a little higher. No fear, no hesitation, and of course, we accept the risk always. 10 seconds, 39.13. 10 minutes. I'm surprised it's 10 minutes. It's only looking $1 share higher or two. By the way, my webcam might be a little bit on the darker side. Nah, looks good. It's showing 42, 41, 42 resumption. Three minutes, 46 seconds. 2 minutes 40 seconds. A lot of waiting around here today. Wait, what? Oh my goodness. What are the people talking about? I don't really look at the YouTube chat. I'll check it out later. Big Steve, the pastor, is watching this resumption, brother. The dip and the rip, if it is in full effect. It is showing 43, so can we see 47, 48? And then that sweet, sweet dip, and I'll be in, like seasoning, looking for the bounce. I'll be so in there. 39.13, our current level. Can we see a dip? Taking it. And only a couple dollars a share there. I wonder if I got a good fill. I don't know. But watching for 45 here. Come on, you can do it. And I might be out early. Well, I'll take the green there. There's the move. Just why is it so late? Now we push to 47. Like, I don't know. Typically, we're going to get much quicker resolution on a resumption at this price. Yet there's a churn right there. Maybe it consolidates because it's not as aggressive as I would expect. $47.78 for the halt up. The halt down 39.10. What's up? What's up with this level 2? Okay. 39.81. This level 2, I don't know, my level 2 sometimes a little strange on a Guardian. So do I take my 800 bucks here and leave? Or do I stick around on a slow day to see if something else comes up? I'm definitely taking the green here. What I'll, since this is so early, what I'll do, I'm gonna go down to one share. I mean, so, I don't mind trading something else if it comes, but it needs to be good. It needs to be really good. Volatile, good price range, low float, uptrend. If not, we're out like south at 10:30 after the 1 hour mark. So I'm gonna size down. We saw the setup. We took the setup. We got two good winning trades. Although once I'm back in at and I got filled high because I bought closer to 40. I bought closer to 40 and I'm in at 42 pretty much, which is terrible. And then the freaking push to 47 doesn't happen for I'm in that trade for 15 seconds, which for a resumption trade is, an eternity really. It's usually within like 2-3 seconds right away, boom. Especially at this price. You know who's pretty good at holding those trades? Beam. If Beam took that setup, he sold at 47. Beam does not sell unless there's real weakness. Pastor with the paper hands. By the way, shout out to Beam if he's watching on today. If he's listening in. Green Beam. This is definitely one of the good things about trading when it is a good day. If you're red early, of course, it's the complete opposite, right? But for the people who are trading pre-market who might have done well, and I did think I saw a few people on YouTube saying that they're leaving early today. So if you come in and you capture the opportunities right away, then you don't really need to be here, right? You could stay if you want to, just to see if more opportunities come later in the day, but there are a few stuff hitting the scans, but nothing really looking great, so not calling them out. ARBK at 88. Let's see. How are we doing? Man, look at that red to green, man. Well, hopefully those people looking at this one caught it. ARBK. Now I'm showing up here when I would have wanted to be in at like 64 for the breakout. Maybe the train has left the station. Bob, they're probably locked in. They're probably not going to respond right now. The penny boys definitely caught that one, being that they're only looking for penny stocks. 100% guaranteed. And these guys are trading in the same living room. So if the stock starts to move, one of them will call it out to the other one. Now, what a beautiful story, right? Got two sibling traders in the chat room who are both profitable. Shout out to MMU, right? Because we've created a couple of millionaires for sure, without a doubt. We have quite a few students who've made like hundreds of thousands of dollars already. I don't I don't know if they've crossed over if people have crossed over the $1 million mark yet, but in terms of like the potential to make 1 million and what they've already made, definitely. Not everyone is profitable, but there's definitely people who are doing well. Shout out to the team, which is also why I tax the chat room 10% for everybody who's doing well. At the end of the month, they send me 10% check. That's a joke, but maybe a bad one. The 10% profitable trader fee for the pastor. Resumption, 3 minutes 48 seconds for SPRB, showing 36. ARBK, I like that the pullback is holding up here. It seems like it's a tight bull flag, and we could potentially see a new high. Right here, the key is for stocks like this not to Christmas tree. The last thing we need to see is like 70 cents. But if it can continue to hold up, have a tight pullback, and potentially a 3-bar play on the 5-minute chart, that could be pretty good. It's seeming like it definitely could move like a low float, right? Despite the higher float, with the big move we've just had, we're still seeing it going up a cent or two at a time in some areas. I might attempt to break out. I'll attempt to break out here. Oh, not quite yet. I got small size. Mother lover. Mother lover. Mother lover. There's no way I didn't buy back. That was pretty good too. It's like instantly to 90 or 89. Not bad. Yeah, I mean it looks like it's moving pretty well, like a low float here for sure. There's sellers at 90. Jeez. It is strong. I mean, look at that dip was bought up instantly. Instantly. There's definitely people throwing some big size for sure. I wouldn't mind if it gets over 1 and keeps going as well. That could also be pretty good. There's the resumption for SPRB. False. If it's false halts, it's not a bad idea here for me. but it looks like it might lock in. I think the next resumption was not bad to watch for the bounce if this does halt down as well. I don't love that that buyback. I'm like getting chopped here too much. The dip looks good, but I need to be in this dip lower. Bro, it's so quick too. Like once that bottom comes there, it's like instantly 2 cents up. And it is making new lows. Okay. Well, not good that I missed the breakout and then, this dip isn't bouncing here. But that breakout was good though, 85 to 90 almost instantly. No resistance once we got through the seller. Our sellers at 85. SPRB halted down again. If I get chopped out of this thing again, I'm gonna go mad. I'm gonna go mad. I'm gonna go mad. $79 was our previous low. If it goes up again and rejects like 87, then it's probably finished. But I think we should retest the highs at some point. How low are we gonna go? Previous lows were 79, they're 78. Bro, all this green and nothing. Good, 80. Can we see 81, 82, 83? Where's the real buying? The real volume? All of this is still baby volume. There's the resumption again. 32, 31, 30, long 31, small size, just baby size. On SPRB, 34, but I'm probably out break even. I only had one share size in the thing there, but I'm good to at least still throw out the trade. I'm looking to hold this all the way to 87 here. This small position. If we don't double bottom 79, then there's no hope here. VWAP is all the way 75. If we have to go all the way down there, then we're just cooked. So looking for this small area here to turn into a red to green over time. Should I be in here with 50,000 shares? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. I should be in here with size like a maniac. As the street cleaner is going by, I'll mute my mic here for a sec. Still haven't seen any real volume yet, but I'm going to take something just because it's a good move to this point. The 5-minute candle to make the new high is 85. So over 85, where there's a 200,000 share seller, it needs to, just like how we boosted up to 90, is what we would want to see. Because once the real volume is to hit this thing, it needs to fly. It's already proven that it can go. So I'm just gonna watch here. Now I've got just 1,000 shares left. See now, if I took the 50,000 size, right? Right now I'm already up 5 grand. If I took the 50,000 size. All I have to do is put 2 zeros at the end of my thing, my order entry, and boom. It takes no more effort than that. Mental strain, maybe, if it's a losing trade. Big Steve, what am I doing with my life here, bro? Just 4 months ago, I'd be in 100K size. Have I gone soft on myself and the people? And the whole chat room saying, "Do it right." Well, this. Here's what I'll do. Right. Here's what I'll do. If it gives the 5-minute setup, I could try. However, if it's a losing trade, I'll be back to flat on the day. It's like a risk of like 500 if the 5-minute setup doesn't break out over 85. Should I do it for the culture? For the team? For the sake of all traders around the world? I think this pullback is fine. I think if it does come all the way back to 78 is where I want to be careful for a break-even stop. We've already sold some in the trade. We're up 3 cents unrealized. The 5-minute chart looks good to where we can get over 85, so I want to keep waiting. The risk is definitely at least 2.5 cents on the breakout. I mean, it's a bit of a high risk trade because sometimes the move isn't as immediate. I'll do a happy medium and I'll do 10K size. Big Steve, maybe I am a little soft, but if it gets through the seller, I'll try for the move here. There's 84 again. 200,000 shares, although it's not that big of a position. So, holy shit, it's just my level 2 froze. It froze. I couldn't get in. Look at that, man. Taking the micro dip though with the size. And 2 cents or a cent. My level 2 froze right there, man. What was that? It needs to hold above 85 here. If not, it's trouble. $87 could give us a head and shoulders if it's not good, but the 5-minute chart is bullish. If you ask me, the fills are kind of cooked, but you know, if it has the range, it wouldn't matter as much. I'll add back over 90 or over 89 rather, because it should go to like 95 if it's really good. I want to put more size, but I don't want to take my hands off the order entry. Oh, you son of a gun. So you can get chopped here for sure. We want the 1-minute candle to make the new high and give us this bit of a bull flag here on the one. Over 89, 88. And my level 2 needs to not freeze here. Freaking fills are just mad, man. 84. Is this diff gonna work? It seems a little sluggish. Well, we didn't quite get the 1-minute candle to make the new high there. The 5-minute chart still looks bullish. We had a lot of volume on that candle too. The pullback, can we hold? It is coming down a bit. See, this looks like head and shoulders a little bit now. It might, I don't know, it could be finished. Because there's no reason to not go. There's no reason that this should not have ripped to 90. Like this red candle should be a green candle going up. And we should be at $1 right now. Instead, is this nonsense. Somebody big sold there too because It kind of just, gave out that extra 5 cents in there. Well, we'll take it. We'll take the $100. We'll take the day, smile. We can hang out for another 15 minutes here. There might be a dip, but the halt is at 70. The halt down. It looks like it's already bouncing. 72 lows. A dip entry. You know who's in on that dip entry? Tim. I can guarantee that Tim caught that 72 exactly, and now it's 75. Tim is in on that trade for sure. I typically don't really reach out to the other guys too often. I mean, sometimes, right? It depends on the situation. But most times you understand where people are buying. But what you got to do is just have the confidence to just go for it, Can you take the 50,000 shares? Here's what a guy like Save did in that situation, right? 100K size, boom. Made 10K in that trade. So the pastor needs to push himself, and it's not like a bad comparison, but more so for motivation, right? Encouragement. Because I took 2,500 shares when I could have been in at least 10,000 or more, 15,000, 20,000, risking two to $400 to make 1K. If the setup is sweet. This is good though, because for me, the key is really connecting properly. The more I can connect, the better I'll feel about just taking massive size. Massive size. Massive RT will be the new name here. Now, sometimes you'll put out massive size, and what happens? You get punched in the mouth. You buy the dip, and the dip just teleports down 10 cents, and then you got to work your confidence back up again. Oh, try out, man. But making, I mean, I don't know. It's all a mindset thing, right? Mindset, mindset, mindset. Today is a good day, though, in terms of coming in and just looking for what we love to trade and what works well for the strategy. We had a good dip and rip, and I felt good about taking it on that high price, because at the end of the day, the strategy is a strategy, right? And if we're to be patient for what the strategy says, we can manage risk and not worry and just take the trade for what it is. And then here on this stock, the initial concern was the float. Over time, the stock proved that despite the higher float, it's moving well. And so from there, trying to identify a good setup. And that happened to be the double bottom here in this area. The early pullback came and was no problem. We held through, which was good. Definitely more of a 5-minute setup, longer hold trade. And then we added here for the breakout push. And this mini bull flag here is supposed to give a big green candle going up, and it just didn't. This is what is disappointing about the moves, that we should have ripped up. Instead, it gave the equal an opposite reaction. So if it had went up, right? If we put the minus sign here, if we put the minus sign, which you can do on Thinkorswim, and it'll show you the inverse of the stock. This is what we would have been seeing. Just assume that we're at all high of day. This is what we would have been seeing, right? If we scroll forward just a little bit right here. Right now we would have been on a bull flag looking to make a new high again pretty much. This is what we would have been seeing at the highs. Can this be a quick dip down and right back up? If not, maybe the stock needs more time to pull back and consolidate. But it is in the abyss. See, if it gets back through 80, it does become interesting again. That was our last support, especially if it gets above 80 and can hold. I don't know. It's definitely a little messy though. I'll be on the sidelines. Wait, what is the chat room talking about? Guys, by the way, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give more people the ability to ban, as in like more of our trusted members, trusted students and people who are here long throughout the day. Honestly, if somebody comes in here that they just look a little like, just get rid of them. Even if myself, Tim, Marcelo, the other guys, if we're not here, just send them into the depths. I'll create a role, guys like Rolex, Cactus Rob, and others, a few others who are here till late in the day. It is a no nonsense community. Can't with this chat, man. Okay, it is 10:22 a.m. Let me check my notes here and see what I have to get done for the day. The one thing that I'm not doing in my checklist that I'm supposed to be doing and I'm ashamed of, I'm not recording content right now at all. It's pretty terrible. I should be recording a new piece of content every day or every 2 days. I haven't been doing it at this. I don't know. It's just been an issue for me, honestly, for a long time. When I'm in the team house environment, creating content just becomes like nothing. You want to create content. Sometimes I think maybe I should just do a team house every month. We could. There's so many people here that honestly, if we just rotate different people, we could do it every month, Gotta get the content going. SPRB is halting up at 38.69. This looks interesting, especially if it gets a gap out of a halt up. It needs to lock in though. Yeah, I'm gonna take the green. We're up 900 bucks. We'll take the green, smile, be happy on a slower day like this. We came in, we threaded the needle. 900 bucks a day, man. Even though like if we can do that every single day, it's not the world of money, but it's still a great living, right? Last year we did 1200 bucks a day, and it's quite a bit of money. It adds up really quickly. There are levels to it though, there are people doing 5,000 a day, 10,000, and so forth and so forth. You see a guy like Ross Cameron doing, you know, 80K a day sometimes, right? On average. It's madness what the market is really. People who are holding AMD today, they're smiling pretty wide. What happened to Marcelo? Was he a fraud? Oh my god. Guys, Marcelo has made over $2 million day trading. I have seen his account like with my own eyes. Marcelo is one of the best in the business, brother. The mighty himself. What happened to Marcelo is that his YouTube channel got deleted. Now, I don't know why it would get deleted. I mean, besides myself, Marcelo is like the most transparent trader that there is. All right. We're the top two in transparency. I think we're even more transparent than a guy like Ross even. I shared so much about my personal life even over the years that like not even anybody can come close. You guys gotta go rewatch some of those videos on this channel, man. There's everything. Let me tell you, since I'm not trading here, I'll talk a little bit, right? SPRB is halted up in a really great area for people looking for a retest of the high of day here. This looks good. People who are short aggressively could be feeling something here in the consolidation just now, so maybe there's some gap to fill back to the highs and hopefully new highs on SPRB. Well, yeah, coming back to the mighty, right? Whenever you're a real individual, like, because, I don't know for those of you who know, but this space is very ridiculous when it comes to how many people are lying about their performance. And it's rare that you'll find people like me who are just here, just raw and real, Marcelo as well. Like, you don't really see this too much, right? There's only a few people who are like really putting it out there, like no tricks, no gimmicks, fully transparent. And when you're fully transparent, you can come on here as it pertains to day trading. You can say anything, right? As in being a salesperson, right? If you're saying, because like if I'm up here saying, hey, I can pull up my trader view, right? And I can show the people the money that I've made. And it's like, if I say, hey, check out my course where I teach every single thing that I know that has gotten me to this point, then there's nothing wrong with that, right? But now, if you're somebody who what you're showing the people and also what is in your material is different, or even if maybe what you're showing the people is a lie and your profits are like fake, then obviously, you should be like blacklisted and deleted and just removed. So it is a little strange when you have people who are so transparent being banned, and then there's people who are obviously frauds, like proven to be frauds multiple times even, and then nothing happens to those people, right? So this game of just life really sometimes it's not really fair, and it also comes down to who you know. Because if you have people at YouTube, then you know your channel, nothing is gonna happen to your channel, especially if you're already somebody who is aggressive. And I'll say it like this, right? Cancel culture only works on certain type of people. There are people who, because of how they started their career with certain levels of ignorance, that for that same person to get canceled versus somebody else who's proper is not the same measuring stick. That ignorant person could say anything, you know? And then somebody who speaks professionally, if they say one thing, that person is canceled. So what are the rules and where's the line in the sand? The goalpost continues to be moved back and forth depending on the person and the individual. And then so it's not really like a level system, right? So anybody's channel could be banned, and it could be for various reasons. Even if you're a legit real trader doing well. So you guys can check out the chat room if you're looking to see the Mighty live stream, if you're looking to see Tim and some of the other guys. Shout out to Save the Monster, who had another massive month. Some of these guys do post their P&Ls in there regularly for the chat room to see. I don't know if this, God forbid, but if this channel to get banned, then it's like, you know, what I would do though is I'd start another channel the next day, just live streaming again. The people in the chat room will be watching, and then over time, I guess the regular people on YouTube will find it just through the algorithm. But I just keep. It's just another day, really. I don't know. I think for me, the thing that's closest to my heart ultimately is trading, and so I'm pretty liberated from any of these attachments. If this channel gets deleted today, then as long as I can wake up and trade, I'll feel pretty good. Now, if my hands are cut off, if I'm not able to trade through my foot pedal, because at that rate I'll hire somebody to just push the ticker symbol for me, and I'll set up the hotkeys through the foot pedal, and then I'll still trade like that. One in, one out, buy, sell. That can work too. Now, if my legs are chopped off, then I'm really cooked. Then I'll fall into depression. Yeah, ARBK on the other screen here. As the rant is going. It's holding 80, so there's a chance it retests the heights here. I don't think a lot of people are holding from 72, so maybe at VWAP 76. And you'll have a lot of people probably looking to get in here, maybe. So it could work. The move at 72 is just so quick and so risky. SPRB has 3 minutes, 18 seconds, showing 43, 47. The double standard of cancel culture. Well, some people just say anything too. I mean, there's some people who just say anything, right? I don't know where they're getting their information, but why is trading with Tim no longer on Kinfo? Because maybe he's decided to be more private with his life and not show the world that he's making millions. Not everybody wants to be on YouTube, you know. Not everybody really wants to be out there like that all the time. This thing is a very specific type of personality that you have to have because there are risks. There are risks. There's 40 seconds to the resumption. It looks pretty promising here. I got baby size watching. We're at 41.44. It's showing 43.80. Here we go. Can we get a dip? I'd still like to see another dip. Trying 40. I'm going to get filled high there. Tight stop, tight stop. Can we go? It looks okay. It looks okay. Could still work. But got to keep the tight stops. $42 needs to hold up. The halt down is pretty close. It needs the false halt. If not, it's just a double top, really. I mean, it came close, but right back down. And we lost a little bit there, too. Not a lot, but a little. $40, $50 over the 2 or 3 trades. All right, I think I'll take the green here and shut it down. Let me know if you guys have any questions here in the chat room or on the YouTube live stream. I can do a quick Q&A before I head out for 5 to 10 minutes. Don't worry, SF. We only lost $40 at the top. I wouldn't call it a haircut. More like a little too much of the alcohol spray at the end. Yeah, ARBK. See, I would have definitely gotten chopped out of it, though. It pulled back all the way to 76 before curling up again. And whatever happened to the classes that I hosted? We'll start doing more classes again in the future. For right now, we're kind of like on a bit of a break. But those classes are for students only, though. When we usually do them. My best day and worst day in terms of P&L. Best day was 26,000. Worst day was about 4,000. On that day, I had lows of like 5.5, 5.4. Then we made back a little bit towards the end. How do you get out of halt down quickly? Well, if the stock is being pinned into the halt down, if you put out the sell order, a market order, then if there's liquidity and people trying to buy that halt down, then you can get filled. But I'm pretty sure it's that, you know, the case where you'll get filled in the order that the shares were like received by the market makers. So, you know, you'll probably be in line, and if there's enough liquidity, you'll get filled. If not, you can get caught in the halt down, and then you'll have to sell on resumption. You can just put out the order, really, and just hope and pray it gets filled. Okay, yeah, that's it for the quick couple of questions. Don't see anything else. Oh, there's okay. So what do you do all day after trading? Okay, this is a good one. There's a couple of different things. Like today I have my notebook out already. And so there's a bunch of like tasks that I have to do. The one thing that I did mention that I don't love that I'm not doing is the content, the extra content that I should do for like the YouTube or the YouTube shorts. However, outside of that, there's a bunch of different checklist things that I have to do on a daily basis. It all depends and it'll range from personal things, things for the other businesses and other ventures. I don't want to share too much, but there are some other things that we're like, you know, we're doing right now outside of the trading world, like different spaces. But sometimes things can be personal too, right? Appointments, bank stuff, credit stuff, loans. Like these are just like a few general topics that I have listed down right now. I have to do, and then a few car things as well. I got to do an oil change, and then some wheel bearings. Wheel bearings, sadly, the rims. I have some wheels on my tire that are like some rims on my car that are like bigger than the factory rims. So the wheel bearings are going bad much quicker. Got to replace those. Can we see your trader view calendar for this month? This month or last month? How do you set up hotkeys? In the classes, we have a few videos on setting up hotkeys, but if you're not in there, pretty much if you're using Thinkorswim, the hotkeys are pretty basic and straightforward. You can go to setup, application settings, and then you can set up a few hotkeys for market orders, limit orders, basic stuff though. If you're using DAS Trader, let's see. If you're using DAS, you have to go to setup and then hotkey/script. And once you get into that settings menu, you can hit add new item. And I'll pull up my screen here. This is what you'll see. Once you hit add new item right here, you can essentially build your script. You can use the order script wizard right here, and you can name your hotkey, and this is how you can create your script. So if you want on the buy side, you can, of course, hit buy. For share, Let's see. This depends on like what type of order you're trying to make. But let's say position your position times a half. Let me see what do I have for. Hold on, let me double check what I have. I'll give you my market order in. Hold up. Control Z. Well, I'll have to delete this for a sec. Hold up. I can't remember what I have. I'll pull it up here. Order script. I think for half, I only have it on the sell side. Because I usually sell in halves. I don't usually buy in halves. But yeah. So coming back to it, this is how one of them looks. So you can hit the buy side. For share, if you want to go in with a specific quantity, you can also do that, which is what I have here. So anytime I hit this hotkey, it'll buy this amount of shares, 80 shares. And then symbol, you leave blank because you're not really looking to just trade this on one ticker. Price, you can do bid plus whatever, or ask plus whatever, depending on the situation. Make sure it's tied to your account, the route, limit, and then day plus for me. That way I can use this in pre-market, intraday, and after hours, and then load and send, so it's right away. But yeah, on the sell side, I do have that half because sometimes I'll sell in halves, depending. It's not hard. You just have to just get in there and play around a little bit. Why do I not use limit orders? I mean, you can still be filled decently with market as long as the spreads are tight. When the spreads are massive is where you can get caught. But honestly, I think I like the ability of not having to deal with partial fills all the time. Partial fills for me, I don't know, you have to kind of pick and choose your poisons, right? Like Marcelo was mentioning, he tried to go long with 500 shares on this first dip right here. He only got filled 100 shares and missed the move up, hitting the bid. If the spreads are tight enough in that area, you can take the chance of throwing out the entire market order. And if it's not going up immediately right away, you can still get filled pretty decently. What happens though is that sometimes the moment you're buying market when the spreads are tight, it's like in that exact moment, buying is also coming in, and the ask price can jump up significantly, and then before you know it, you kind of get screwed. It's never that you get a high fill; is that the price of the stock was actually moving up the moment you were buying. Every time I rewatch the videos, that's what I notice, rather than I bought in a good area where the spreads were tight and I just got filled crazily. Someone asked for the trader view. I'll pull it up here quickly. This month and last month I can do. Last month we showed, I think, in Friday's live stream. I haven't imported yet for this month. We're a couple days in. This was last month. Slow month here for me. September. This month I have to import. And then let me see if there's any other questions here towards the end. I think that might have been it for the questions. How is ABRK doing? Still holding up. Remember, you guys can check out the links down below for Day Trade Dash, the scanners, the chat room, and everything else, including the classes too, if you're interested. So after I'm done trading today, I got to make a call, and then I got to head to the bank to do some business. Friday was a day where I went to go see my accountant. So we got that one checked off. I also got to go get an X-ray done. Not an X-ray, an MRI. I'm gonna go do an MRI too, because I don't know what's going on with my lower back. These are all like those are like more personal things though. Lower back is cooked. Cook stew. Cook stew. The course price is $9.99. Honestly, I always used to tell Marcelo and some others that it should have been more because and it should be more even still because the value that is there versus the price. It's like this is like a legit skill at the end of the day, you know. Right now the months are not looking as pretty, but it still doesn't change the fact of the potential and the opportunity that is here, right? January of last year, you know, this is like a glimpse of like how some of the months were looking, some of the better months. $7,000 here on the 26th of January last year. Nice day here, solid day. Second also was a good day. At the you know, it's like being that we're so transparent, we show people everything, every single thing that we do, and we're showing people how we make thousands of dollars a day. This it's like the course should easily be just off of that alone, like $10,000 plus. I think a lot of college courses, you know, I mean, it depends on the school. If you're going to a community college, it's obviously going to be a little cheaper for the education. But if you're going to like an Ivy League school, the Harvards and the Yales of the world, more than likely you're probably paying like 10,000 a class or more. And what we're teaching, I'd say, is probably way better than what they're teaching anyways. Right? Pound for pound. But pound for pound, because at the end of the day, you know, they're teaching people from a textbook, whilst we're teaching people with real examples of like everyday stuff, every single day, religiously, right? So the value here is obviously pretty insane. And the best thing is that I can say that very comfortably and confidently because these are all real numbers here. And then to show you the worst of it, right? Here, let's go to May of this year, which we had our biggest red month ever. So you can see that there's a risk. It's not just all big green. And that there's a comparison of my best month and my worst month, right? And we've had some green days here, but massive red days really. 2,700, 2K, 3,900. Jeez, man, what happened this day? These 3 days here alone. You remove these 3 days, and the month is actually like a much better looking month, especially if these days are to be small green. It's not that they don't teach trading in college. Is that what we teach here is like is the real deal, you know? Like there's no tricks, there's no gimmicks. It's just straight to it. It doesn't mean that it's easy though. If it was, every single student, every single person would be able to make money consistently every single day. But you know, at the end of it, you know, I've made over 600,000. Marcelo's made over 2 million, and we share what we're doing very openly, publicly, and honestly. So for those reasons, you know, I'd say the value is definitely there. On top of that, you know, we do go above the extra mile, and we also engage with our students through video calls, study sessions, things like that, DMs. Yeah, I started above PDT, and although I started with a lot of risk, I think I had at least $20,000 of credit card money credit card arbitrage is what I did. So I turned the credit card into cash. Luckily, shout out to one of my siblings, right? He's like, hey, in this country, you need credit the moment you turn 17, 18. You got to like start building your credit score. So I've had a one credit card at a time that I was, you know, paying it every on time, every time, things like that. Then I had applied, got a bigger card, and then he was doing the same thing. He had gotten a massive card, I think, and we took the money off of his credit card, the one that I had, and I borrowed 5K cash from another sibling. And I had 2K of my own money saved up, like 2,500 like of savings. So 25,000 in total was all borrowed money. 5,000 from one sibling. I think he might have given me 16,000, and I might have gotten 4 from one of the bigger credit cards at that time. Now 4,000 on a credit card is like a nothing, right? But anyhows, 20,000 total of credit card debt, 5,000 of debt from one of my other siblings, and 2,500 of my own money is how I got up above the PDT. Because saving for this would have been impossible. With the jobs that we had, it didn't even make sense trying to save, because with your ongoing expense for how much you're making, saving would have been just, I would have still been saving to, I'd have still been saving to get over PDT. Oh, it's crazy to think about. But anyhow, what gave me the confidence was, the track record that I had in the sim, and I knew going slow to start would have been the way, right? So $50 days, $100 days, it started to add up, and then over time, we had a good summer actually. Like I think we made 16,000 May of 2020. I have my stats from in the sim too. So my first month ever going live as a trader, I made 4,800. This is in 2020. This is right before prices got expensive, right? So I'm working at Amazon back here, and I made like an extra 5,000 on a month. Like I didn't feel rich because of the debt, of course, but it's like, man, like this is something. This is something, because how much did I make from the job? I used to work overtime every time, so oh no, I don't think I made a lot this year. Maybe the next year. So maybe I made 2K on the month at Amazon if I had to guess. Maybe 3K at best. Let's just say 2,500. Probably less than that. Let's just say 2K. So to then make this money from trading, it's like, whoa. And then again into the next month, June, another 4,000. And this was this day here. If I retrade a day like this today, I'd make 50K plus easy. This day, like, just look at how much money this day was compared to the other days in the month. This tells you LEDS, right? Or is it a different stock? Okay, maybe it was a different. Okay, MOSY. These tickers like this are delisted. I used to import my trades without splitting the executions, so it doesn't show like I took like 50 trades on the day. And back then I wasn't trading as much, because I just, like, when I rewatch these videos today, I can't even look at it, because the amount of trades that are coming that I'm not taking is like mad. Like my brain starts to hurt just watching at it. It's like, almost feels like cringe. And then July, and so I'm making back the money from the loan here relatively quickly, right? August, this is where it slowed down. Nothing. August, nothing. September. So we had the first 3 months, and timing is everything sometimes, right? Because I did have time in terms of, like, I think we had a year to pay back the loan before the high interest really started kicking in. So it's 3 good months. About 15,000. Fees are like really low, especially when you're like not trading a ton anyways. September comes along, and I don't think we made anything till February of this next year. 1K. And then October we lost. This red month here was my only real red month up until this year, really. I had flat months, never really red. So until May of this year, I had my first red month since this red month here. It's just ridiculous to have. I mean, this year has been something else, I tell you. November, nothing, minus 300. December, I think flat. Small green. All this is GameStop stuff. GameStop era, right? But you're coming in as a new trader, you got to follow your plan. You got to stick to course. This is my first time right here changing my account number, by the way. I've changed my account number at least like 6 times or 5 times by now. I do it for security reasons. You know, I'm a live streamer at the end of the day. You got to be careful. January into the new year, really nice. And then February, which was my best month, I think, into the new year. Right here, this week of data. I forgot. I changed my account number. I forgot like what happened. Something. I don't know. Anyhow, it was a good week. I think this was like a slower week, but still a good week. Man, I think I had one red day on this week. You know, 2021. At this time, I'm definitely doing the overtime at Amazon. And so I made back to 25K. You know, my sibling is also trading at the time. And instead of paying back the loan, we're like, you know what? Let's fund his account with this money. Straight 25 grand, boom. It's like a pretty powerful move too, because, you know, I mean, the people watching here, it's like, or it's a more mature audience, right? 28 and above. The average age is like 35. So most people watching will have money. I'd say most people watching would probably have at least 50,000 in their accounts, right? Not everyone, but most people, right? In like a savings account or more, right? Equity in the house, whatever it is. Right? So at this age, you know, I was younger back then, to be able to just ship 25,000 into an account is like, was pretty powerful. Especially, I mean, where I'm from in the community that I'm in, it's like these things are like unheard of, right? There's like maybe only a few people who are doing well. And so at that age, especially. And, you know, my sibling didn't do super well. I think I funded his account maybe 3 more times, like, as in like, maybe he's like 3K over the level, or let's say 2K over the level, and falls below the level by 2K. And it's like, all right, here you go, 4K. So I'd like ship this whole month to the account, right? I don't know how much money I sent him. I never kept track of it. It's not an issue. But it had to have been at least like, like like 35,000, 40,000. I don't know, somewhere there. And it was like, okay, bro, I did this is the depths. Like, oh man, it's kind of funny, like just looking back at all this stuff. If he's listening in, you know, he's probably laughing too. But so the time came to like pay back the credit card, and it was like, man, like my balance is literally at like 0. I've made 40,000, but I'm at like 0 pretty much. You know, man. Talk about being in the grind and you're back against the wall. I think all of these things played into how I traded earlier in this trading game. You know, in terms of size and all these things. I think I might have started importing my trades correctly this time. You know, you can see like 50 trades, 30 trades. In these times, I should have been taking 500 trades a day. You know? I think this day might have been LEDS. Is this the day I'm thinking of? Yes. This stock was so strong. I mean, man. This stock LEDS. Let's click on it. Does it have the Was it multi-day? I think it was multi-day. For 3 days or 2 days straight. Looks like it was 2 days straight. Look at this move, right? From actually let's check, let's go back some more. Okay, it looks like it might have been 2 days. Yeah, I know I'm not doing any trading right now, I'm just rambling. The volume back in these days was much lighter. This will be interesting to see actually. What time frame is this? Let's just zoom in. Is this the 1 minute? No, it looks like this is a, yeah, this is a 1 minute. Volume. Look at the volume on this stock. Isn't this insane? So back in these days, 100,000 shares a candle. I mean, we're a little bit more pricey. We're at $12, but still. I mean, this stock was just so smooth, man. So clean. And then the next day again, multi-day continuation. And it just kept going, kept going. Tight spreads, everything you would want and need. So, you know, paying the interest on the credit card wasn't fun on mine and his. And then those times, I tell you. But what was good is that I was also doing the Amazon work, so it was helping out a little bit. But at the end of it, I'd pretty much have no money left at the end of like every month. Just paying back, I think I didn't pay back everything until the end of 2022, which is crazy. It took a while. And, you know, the months are a little smaller here, 2K there. September. How much did we do in September? 1.8. Like, this is not going to pay off the loan, you know? Just slow and steady. October of 2021. 3.6 there, a little bit better. That definitely helps out a bit. Did we get a better close to the year, maybe? This is pretty good here, 5.7. I think at this, I can't remember exactly what I did with money at this time. Like, it's hard to remember. I don't think I did a lot. I remember I went on a vacation, which I probably should not have done. Like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking doing that. Being that I had this loan that I was paying, like, bro, that's all to the loan, you know? I think also when you're in like relationships, like you just, you know, maybe you just spend more because like you're doing more stuff, you know? January, February, I don't think we made anything. I remember the loan just took a long time to pay off, and then it's like closer to the end of this year. Now we paid it off, and then finally, you know, it's like the money that I had was mine, finally. But I think betting on the sibling was a good move. I don't, you know, I think I would do it again, obviously, because if we're both to be clicking on this on you know and doing well, you know, almost like the brothers in Florida, right? Like it's double trouble, right? Two people both doing well at the same time. There's nothing better than that. Great week here to end the month. 2.1, 2.6, and then 1K right there. Nicely done. And so, you know, with a nice month like that, and then December, because you have your cost of living. You know, for those of you who don't know, you know, for me, it's like this, the backstory summarized is pretty much like, you know, the single mother thing, you know, all the stereotypes you'll pretty much see. So, you know, helping out around the house with cash was also a thing from a while ago. So, you know, small bills and things like that that we could help out with, we obviously would. And then finally, with that nice November, December, smaller month, just 1,500. You know, trading, like on a day like today, we're done at like 11 a.m., right? It's like you can still have a full-time job depending on the hours. Or if you're working remotely, there's so many different things that you can still do. In terms of time, you know, back here, I'm still going in, I think. I might have I might have left sometime like around this time here from Amazon, or maybe even a little earlier in this year. So I've been a full-time trader for what, a good full 3 years. The small numbers, they add up for sure, you know? Especially when you have your other income. Let's say you have your regular job and then you add 4K on the month. It's like it's money you can use to do anything with at that point, especially if your salary or your wage is already covering all of your bills slash expenses. You know, this money, I mean, it's not the world of money here, but, you know, for anybody making 3K, 4K, 5K, 8K a month, it adds up quickly and you can then use it to start another business or do something else. So these are, you know, the numbers here, small. And then 2023, we also had a hotter year for markets. I think most people will say that this year is a slower year. Not everyone, but I think most people will say that. Not for large caps, obviously, for small caps. Large caps has been one of the hottest years we could have asked for, right? Um, Small cap wise, I think people would say it's a little slower. Uh, I can't remember exactly what month was GameStop and AMC. I think it was 2020, 2021. And then 2023 was like a better year for markets, for small caps rather. I think most people could agree that this year ended up being one of the better years. Like it was just a little hotter, you know, especially if you put a little bit more risk behind the trades, you can then start to see, you know, some more capital, some more money building up in your accounts. February. And then also you're going full time. You can like trade more, you can trade longer, you can trade power hour. Power hour used to always be a thing. I don't know what's going on with the market this year. Like when I tell you guys there'd be like I would have for sure made over 1 million easy if the momentum was still constant. I could guarantee this. Like it would have been like nothing. The freaking momentum is just not the same. Like we'd have 3 stocks every day at 9:30. Like forget you don't even need to trade pre-market, right? At 9:30 starting, you're guaranteed to get at least 3 stocks between 9:30 and about 11:50 a.m. Like 3 stocks to uptrend and give a move. And then between 12 and 2, you might get 1 stock. And then for power hour, it might be even the last 10 minutes, you're going to get something else to end the day. And so you could trade all day long and have something almost all the time going on, you know? March a little bit slower. April. Some months we definitely had more red days than other months. You know, it kind of all came down to some of those key trades. Sometimes you do fumble. Sometimes you do fumble. May. Looks like this was one of the better days. This is a good example too. You know, 2 good days here, really. But you know, the small green days, they can add up pretty quickly. But you got to be connecting and just locking in green day, even if it's small. You got to just, so days like today, I'm like, you know what, let's just not overtrade. Let's just try to lock it in. And then, you know, it can add up over time. June 2023. This is Juneteenth. Right off of Juneteenth, a nice day there. July. A good July. Red days kept to a minimum. Green days looking good. Months getting a little bit bigger at the time. August of the next month. Red days. Notice the red days are not over them, bro. My red days are like crazy. So I gotta like not have these big red days. It's all about taking the risk in the right areas. If you fumble and mess up and you chase, you can get caught pretty quickly and lose big in just one trade. August, September. So by this time we've again the debt has been paid off at the end of 2022. It's a hot year for small caps. We're doing all right. And then looks like we had a lot more red days October here. Ooh, tough month here. Tough month. Tough month. Red to start the week. Tough month right here. Barely anything. Flat. November, did we pick up again? 9. A few big days too will make a huge difference, right? Because this looks like any other month, really. Just these 3 days here. 9, 5, and 4. Or 9, 5, 5, 5, 9, right? These 3 days is pretty much 20,000. Bread days bigger here on these days. I'm curious to how many stocks I traded. One, and look at this. This one is like power hour 230. 230 onwards is where we made the money. Look at all this is power hour 315, 330. We added into this one. MI and M, SMFL. Looks like just 2 really. SNGX 3. So those stocks look like they continued throughout the rest of the day. A lot of trades. AMPE earlier in the day. November, December. A lot of this stuff is size. Size is everything. Like once you're connecting and you put massive, you have to be able to put size though. It is a mental thing and sometimes you can end up taking losses, but the key is if you can put the size and still manage to risk the same, meaning you're not holding past your stop, you're not taking bad trades, you're not forcing trades, but you're sticking to the strategy that you know and love, but you're putting the extra 0 at the end of the number or whatever it might be, right? Because what will happen is what was a 5, 800, 1,500, 2K a day becomes 7,000, 6,000. I mean, it's exponential. And before you know it, you go from 1,500 a day, 2K a day, to 8K a day, right? And also style. I think style is a part of it too. Like, I think when you're holding longer for bigger picture, naturally it's easier to take size because when you are scalping quickly, repeatedly, sometimes the moves are so quick that it's like if you miss a beep, you're kind of like just out of whack already, Like a few high fills even can like throw you off when it comes to the size or slippage. These kind of things, especially where you should have had, let's say you should have had like 5 good trades to start. There are like 4 mediocre trades and 1 good trade. Before you know it, it's like the whole thing is kind of ruined, It's definitely more delicate when you're scalping quickly. But this was a good year. Like, good months like this, you're able to do things relatively quickly with money. Like any sort of consumer debt that you have, you should be able to eliminate quickly, assuming it's not like hundreds of thousands of debt. In these type of times, I mean, 2023 is a little late already, but if you have property before like 2020, it more than likely should have been cheap due to the rates at the time. I mean, like mansions were like there's like mansions close to where I am where it's like 600,000 back then, and now today it's like 3.4 million. Like things that just doesn't even make sense, right? But anyhow, most people mortgages are probably pretty low, pretty cheap if they bought early, right? Because most people here are like older, 35 average age. Vitaly, if you're listening, did you? I don't know if you bought a. I can't remember if you bought a house. If it was a house, did you get the low interest? Yeah, I mean, more size doesn't always mean more money, but generally, when you're consistent with with a strategy, any strategy, right? If you're consistent with it and it's working well, typically, I'd say if you're putting more size, you can make more, but it's not always the case. But typically, you should. I think you should in most cases, depending, right, on how you're managing the risk and things like that. I'm in my mid 20s. I don't give my exact age because Thinkorswim, it's one of the security questions. Or I mean, or yeah, or else I would say it. Other than that, I think the average age is 35. Most people though are a little older than 35, 40, 45, 50. Because myself and Marcelo are pretty young, we will attract a few youngsters, 18, 20-year olds, 25, like that. Vitali, for example, I think maybe 26, if I had to guess. It depends for different people, but for us, the way how we're trading, if you're trading consistently, then more size will equate to a little bit more gains. Not always, not every time. Sometimes you size up, you take a massive loss. Things like that can happen. This year was a good year too. This year, however, 2025 is the year that really kind of cooked us. It's reminding me of the Bob Marley song, right? So much trouble in the land. So much trouble in the land. January this year, this month. This month was like annoying, man. Like the issue for me this month is my hold time. If I was to hold the trades for 4 more seconds, 3 more seconds, this month would have been quadruple. It's just ridiculous how something so small. I'd sell for 30 cents of gain, the stock goes up another $1.20. Man, brutal. Brutal. Not to mention these 3 red days here. 4,000 on this day. Got cooked. AIFF. Bro, look at this streak right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red trades in a row of all massive amounts. 12,000 shares. On what price stock is this? 67. It's actually not that big. Okay. Not that bad. This whole day it just got cooked. Just a terrible day. These days like this, you got to stop earlier is what you got to do. If not, you get, brutalized. Brutalized. This day, this month, I think this is our biggest day this year, the 24th. This day was very similar to many days last year. This day right here. Man, I tell you. is insane. The amount of money that I could have made if my mind was more tuned. So as we go forward, right? I think for me, as I'm making these adjustments, I'm adjusting to this like newer style of movements from some of the stocks. Because some stocks I think are moving like slightly differently, right? And because the strategy is so delicate, you know, if it's not exact, you can have issues, right? And so we're gonna keep making these small adjustments, but on the days where we do see that familiarity from last year, we need to like not hold back, because even if it's just once a month, twice a month, it can be very rewarding. I just have to do a better job at flipping the switch, which is something I've had issues with for a while. So this ended up being my first red month since like 2022 right here, which is just brutal, you know, very brutal. But I felt a bit of a slowdown since in February. I feel like things were just a little slower. I think overall, again, when you're using size, it can definitely make up. This maybe might have been one of our better days of trading, but March we got cooked. We got cooked. Things were a little slower. We also tried holding a little longer. I think the last week of trading didn't go super well. Some of these trades were not bad. I think we just kind of didn't follow through with the plan, Like we ended up getting cold feet mid trade and like, all right, let's just cut this trade. When if we would have held to the stop loss, we would have made the money in the trade. You got to execute fearlessly. The moment you start to budge is the moment you'll have issues. April, slower month again. May, I think we got cooked. So when this happened, it's like I had 2 red months within 3 months. It's like, bro, there's something that's not right. Something right. This was like alarms going off like crazy here. Like this is not possible, really. It is unheard of to be red on a month this close together, right? But man, got smoked. And it also felt a little harder to manage risk in some areas where you're looking to have that tighter stop. Stocks just flushing out. So I got absolutely destroyed in May. This was my worst month as a trader. I just, you just don't like to see it, man. And then July and August, we got to talk about. So June, we made back something. And then July and August, I trade. This is when accounts started getting banned on Schwab. They started banning everybody's accounts. I'm like, bro, just don't even trade with this platform right now, because what they're doing is not fair to any of us. And of course, like behind the scenes, we'll have conversations, like myself, the team house traders, some of the students through the DMs. And it's almost like, let's just boycott this whole platform, right? And so I got kind of got a little stubborn and just like, yo, that's it. So in this area, the only reason I don't have the import is because it's through a different broker, and I was able to import daily, which I wasn't doing. So these 4 days here are days where I remembered, okay, let me just import to see like what the stats were, and then, I figured I could just do a bulk import, which I was never able to do. So I think up to the 11th was all Thinkorswim, and then here was Guardian, a lot of pre-market and intraday trading. But in total, I think I lost 6,000 in total. I think it was 3K this month and maybe 3K, or maybe flat here and then 6K. I don't know exactly, which is not a good thing. Or you want to be able to import and see everything here in this span. So I mean, we had some really nice days. Like the days where I did well on Guardian, no surprise, was the days where the momentum was very reminiscent of what the momentum would be last year. And so, like, I spoke to Marcelo at one point, and we were saying, like, it almost doesn't even feel like it's worth trading on the days where we're not seeing something really, like today, right? Like a day like today, okay, we were able to thread the needle. But on a day like today, it's so easy to be red if you didn't catch ARBK in those two uptrends. Like if you miss that, because the other one, this stock here, SPRB, is high risk. I mean, are there people up 20, 40, 50K on this thing? Yes. But it doesn't mean that it's not high risk here, especially after the pre-market move. This was the open, right? Up, down, and big red candles, big green candles. So we have to admit that this at least was kind of tough. Even if you're well green, very green on it, you got to say, hey, this thing was kind of crazy. So if you're not trading this because there's a lot of risk or too much risk, and you don't catch ARBK, because for me, I missed the entire first move just looking at the other one, right? If you miss this move here, which took 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes, let's say 5 minutes, 5 minutes for this to happen. If you miss this trading something else, and then you get caught in a chop, and then you don't catch this red to green over here, maybe there is nothing to trade. And this is a total of another 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes here. So 11 minutes. If you miss this 11 minutes of action for this uptrend, depending on your style of trade, I mean, there's strategies. Some people love to go short. I mean, it depends, right? But in terms of catching the uptrend here properly, for a place where I would say, for me personally, it's more safe to look for the trades, which would have been us reclaiming this level at 80 where we had the support. I could have definitely seen myself getting chopped out here if I was too aggressive to get back in. It held twice. Our rule of 3 we would have needed to stick to here carefully. We held twice. Third time flushed out. So the key would have been catching these 2 trades here, avoiding the loss, and then trading the breakout perhaps over this level of, was that 83? Getting long somewhere in this green candle. I don't know if I would have been in lower. Maybe, I don't know, it depends. I could have been in here because this did look good for a retest, but if I'm in higher towards 83, even here we had some wicks on the candlestick, so it would really came down to catching this bottoming wick and then riding the move back up and then catching this baby pullback in here and then getting the move up again. And then when you do that, this is the real difficult part here. These 2 red candles, this is what can kill you, kill me. Is you think, okay, because we made the new high, because we held up the support again at 80, it's like we're not entitled to get a consolidation here. And so we would think it should hold up 89, 90, and then go to 1. But sometimes this is exactly what happens, which is rejection. Short sellers, or maybe just profit taking, stock is back down hard, and you can give back everything if you're too aggressive high. This here for me is the killer. These 2 red candles. So if you miss those, it's like today is like a flatter day, a slower day. It could even be a red day if you got caught in some bad areas. And so is it really worth the risk when there's not something that's obviously strong and moving up? Accuracy is also a big part of it. Can you at least tread water on a daily basis? Meaning, even if you're right, like for us, even if we're right on like 45, 46% of our trades, we can at least thread water, a slight red, a small green. That way, when something meaningful comes around, we can really dominate it, right? And it's important to capture the move on those days. I've had so many of those days this year, especially where we had a good move and for one reason or another, not quite dialing it in as well as I would have liked. And so on the days where you should have that beautiful, if you want to call it like a hedge maybe, where your green day should be massive versus all the smaller red days or green days, if you don't capture, or even worse, you get caught on a day like that, in the wrong areas and you're big red because you're being aggressive to get the move, then it's like just double negative, double jeopardy. Boom, you're wiped out. You know. So whenever there is momentum, it's important to like you got to get some of it. You got to capture the moves. It'll make the difference at the end of the month, at the end of the year. It'll wipe out all those nonsense small days if you're keeping it tight, which we all should be keeping it tight. This one just had so much trouble at the highs, but I think for me, part of this year is just too many bigger red days. And days where you're good green, you gotta always keep the risk in mind, right? Sometimes it's better to go slower and keep building than to try to just be Hercules and just go for it, some of it is mindset, but you got to be thinking at all times what makes the most sense. There have been days where I've risked like 2,500 worth of profits to double the gains or triple the gains, and it's like, is it really worth it? Is it worth risking 1K? Is it worth risking 3K, 2,500, 500? It all comes down to the temperature of the day. Like, we have to do a good job reading these small, intricate details. There are going to be days where it's worth it, but we have to do a good job deciphering the momentum, the temperature of the market, the temperature of the stock. And ultimately, that's what should really dictate if we're being very aggressive or not, So it's been a very slow year here, all things considered. If we go to year to date and then we do detailed, well, minus 6,000. It's like a pretty slow year plus fees. Let's go to net. So it's been like a pretty slow year here for me, right? Here in terms of the day trading land. I'm even red on a day, which in itself is pretty ridiculous. I'm thinking here, let's see. So today's October 6th, and we got December 31st. So was that a good 3 months for Q4 ahead of us? My goal was $1 million. I typically don't set monetary goals. This is, of course, under the context of my mindset and the momentum that we were seeing the prior year. That is not the reality of where we are. And so with 3 full months left ahead of us, this is going to be a good test of strength here to see how well we can implement the new things we've learned based off of the momentum that we've been seeing. And so there's going to be a few wildcard days where it's really hot. On those days, we have to make sure we capitalize. And on every other day where it's slow, we keep it tight, aim for green, don't overtrade. And then on the days where we are seeing the adjustments for the things we've been seeing for the new market here, this new kind of move that we're seeing from stocks, we got to try to be quick in those adjustments. And just, let's not say be quick in the adjustments. Let's just say applying what we've learned, right? Applying the little bit of knowledge that we've learned, that we've picked up from the level 2, from the time and sales, and trying to make those days count as well. So in doing that, watching for those outlier days that are stronger and more reminiscent of last year, and keeping it tight on all the other days in between. There's no reason that in between now and the end of this year, because this is how business goes, right? You can have a slower year, slower quarter, whatever. But where we are mentally feeling good and what we've learned, there's no reason to not do very well in between now and the end of the year, which is all we're going to need to have a solid year too, right? It's not going to be the $1 million year, but, it's hard to put a number because, again, even a single day even can be so good, but we'll see, right? Let's see how we finish up, but it's going to be one day at a time and trading to the best of our abilities, day in, day out. So quite the year here in terms of the pullback. I think it's reports, overview, where you can see You gotta hit the garbage can here, where you can see the entire performance. Isn't it reports, overview, detailed? It's like loading so slowly. Oh, month, year. Sometimes I kind of forget where everything is. Okay, yeah, here it is. So this was like this slow increase over the years in the net P&L. And then the big drawback here this year. So we definitely, again, the goal is 1 million. We're not quite there. So we got to make the most of what we have now to end the year on a strong note and then be ready for next year. So this has been the calendar here. Definitely a little underwhelming for my own personal standards, I'll say. And we can talk also a little bit too about like the mental side of things, because I remember there was this guy, right? His name was Kyle. High on Stocks is his chat room name. This is a trader who was making 30,000 a day back in I think 2020 and 2021, like religiously every single day almost. And in like mid to late 2022, we're all having this conversation in the group chat, like in the voice channel. And he's like, man, like making this 1K a day is like he's complaining, right? And at this time, on this year, Marcelo, I think, did 98,000. I did a 58K. I remember Red to Greets, a couple other traders who were like all there around like 100K. A couple other guys, and we're like asking him, like, are you crazy? Like, how could you complain about making 1K a day? And again, the ebb and the flow, the cycle. This is someone who's made 30,000 a day 2020, 2021, and he's making a 1,000 a day in 2022. So it's like when 2023 comes around, it's a hotter year and everybody does well. It's no coincidence. Like there's no need to guess anything, right? Like there's just too many people all over Twitter, everywhere, who are having like record years. So coming back from that conversation, it's like for myself, averaging 1,200 a day last year to now, what does it say this year? $290, or let's say less than that. Let's say $200 after the other account. It's like it feels insane. It feels like insanity is what it feels like. I have other income, but still, it's like at the end of the day, trading is my thing, right? Like I could care less about anything else income wise. Is it good to have all these other streams of income? Yes. And even swing trading this year has been great, but at the end of the day, I'm a day trader first. Before I'm into YouTube, before I'm into like anything, I'm a day trader first. So this year for me has been, and I kind of have this like mindset of, how do I want to say this? I feel invincible almost, as a trader, as a person. And then to come in and to get like curb stomp, it's like the clash of the titans almost, because mentally I don't want to budge, but then at the same time I look back to the calendars here and it's like, bro, like you're getting cooked. It's like, man, you start to feel, I don't want to say like you start to feel like a little down, right? Like I've done so well to where I don't have any pressure or stress, and where I am now being down is way better than where I was on a income year like this back then. And back then I survived under much worse conditions, right? Like for example, the credit card story, right? And having very low income overall. So it's like I can't even complain in this situation that I'm in now, because with the other income, the income from here, my expenses are not like crazy. I can't, like, it's impossible to feel too down, to feel too bad, But at the same time, when you look at the numbers and it's like this opportunity cost is that the time that I'm spending the time that I'm spending, being flat or red is time that I could have been spending making money. Granted that we have to, well, we have, and we're still working on, making the proper adjustments for this market condition. I also have this type of personality where I feel like I should have made the adjustment in one day, in 1 second, and I should have been back to massive green days immediately. But obviously, that's not how it works, despite how I think and how my mind works. But it is quite insane, like, to go down and feel the drop in the numbers. So now I can relate to what this guy was telling us. And for him, just imagine 30K a day to 1K a day, what that must have felt like as well, right? So I think the biggest thing is to be grateful of where we are and continue to push forward without any hesitation, without any fear, continue to show up. And we have to make sure that we put in the work when no one is looking, all the things that we did in the first place, right? Especially when we were working to get to where we were. And it's not that we haven't continued to do those things, but at times you can start to be in this like flow state where you're not going as hard with the reviews and things like that, right? So in these last couple of months, we've definitely been studying more. We've been watching more film. And, you have to always make sure you stay in that grind, right? When no one is looking, you're putting in the work, you're putting in the effort, you're doing all the little things. You're doing the study sessions with your friends, with other traders, gathering information where you can. And I think embracing the community even more in these hard times is better than shying away from the community, because ultimately the community is a good support system, and we can learn and grow so much from each other. So I always encourage anybody who might be struggling, instead of like not posting in the chat room and like not talking in the chat room, to be vocal, because you always get some good support systems, right? So, all the traders who are doing well, all the traders who are struggling, the mission remains the same: to keep working, keep getting better, keep growing. And over time, the sun is going to be shining even brighter, and we'll be in the place where we're making even more than we did in prior weeks, prior months, prior years. And when we're in those places, we have to always remember to be grateful. And even then, there's always going to be another slowdown. And so we do all the good things with money, all the responsible things, and always pace ourselves here, because we're looking to be here in the long run. The one thing that I've learned, if I'm to say the awesomeness, if I'm to talk about the awesomeness of this space, is that there's a lot of businesses out there that can make money for people, without a doubt. There's a lot of different businesses, but there is no space like this one where your overhead can be so small. What are we paying? Our internet bill and some electricity for the chance at greatness here, We had Nvidia go from $80 to $190. And granted, yes, this is hindsight, but in the moment, we were doing all the correct things, which was to be buying those pullbacks, and to see how money can accumulate without you having to do anything. There is risk. Yes, there is risk. I guess that's the thing that you're really, working against, right? Is the loss if the trade idea doesn't work out. But even when it comes to day trading, right? Working hard to be good at a strategy that works, and then, following through with it every day and being disciplined about who you are and what you're doing with your life in and out of the markets. There's a lot of risk, without a doubt, But money in this space is different from some of the other spaces. I think even when it comes to having like a physical business, you have so many working parts where, you know, you're seeing things being done in the sense of having employees and maybe you're offering a service. You might have machinery. You know, with trading, it almost feels like money's coming out of thin air. And that's what America is right now. I mean, our system depends on the people's confidence, right, in the dollar and in how things are constructed. And so, unless that changes, this market will always exist and be here as an opportunity. There will be risk, but it is made to go up. And even when there's hardship, especially even in the overall market where there's a recession or even a depression, the market is designed to go up. And so at some point, even in the future where we might see another big dip, you have to have the heart of a lion in the tough times to diamond hand it, but the opportunities will also be there as well. So, being that I'm aiming to be here till I'm 90 years old plus, it's going to be a fun ride, and we're still in the infant stage of our career here. So the names have definitely changed over the years. There's been a lot of people who've came and went, and there's some new faces, and hopefully those of you who are here now will also be here for a little longer. I know some people are also retiring too, depending on their age and what they're looking to do. But sometimes when you think about trading and you think about retirement, it's like, what are we really retiring from? If we're to be of the age, this is something. I mean, it really depends, right? I mean, if you're still having fun, and you're at the retirement age, and trading is not stressful at all, you have your strategy dialed in. It's the type of thing you can do on the go. It doesn't have to be every day at that point, but you can definitely take your vacations and maybe trade every now and again. So when we're a little older, it might not be a daily live stream, but maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks to check in. Everyone is different too. When it comes to other traders, I think the number one thing is to just look at them as encouragement, motivation, and never in like a negative way. Everyone's story is a little different. Everyone's path to success is a little different. I was telling one of my friends outside of trading that, is this kind of thing where he could start a business today, and in 6 months, could make more money than I've made in trading, right? And for other people in trading as well, right? You could be struggling for 5-6 years, turn the corner, and before you know it, within 1 month, like this is, of course, these stories are not for everybody. They sound a little crazy, but it does happen, right? They've been traders who've been struggling for so long, they finally turn a corner and it's boom, hitting some serious numbers, right? We've been seeing some people have $1 million days before the market open, even, right? Not just only like guys like Ross, but there's other guys who are hitting $1 million days frequently, multiple times throughout a month, throughout a year, So you just look at others for encouragement, motivation. You don't compare yourself to someone directly in that sense. But in terms of like pushing yourself a little bit more, maybe taking a little bit more size in good areas, good setups, things like that. Because at the end of the day, that's what you do with your peers and your friends, Almost like if you're in the gym, things like that. You know, you kind of work out together. You push each other to push maybe a little bit more weight in the machines that you're using and training with. So for those people watching on who, you know, who are doing well, keep it up. For those people who are struggling, keep pushing forward. And if you're struggling, make sure to keep it tight. That way, when you do turn the corner, the hole that you have to dig yourself out of is very shallow, right? If you dig yourself a very deep hole, you can knock yourself, strike yourself out, and before you know it, you have to stop. But if you're keeping it disciplined, then you can give yourself more time to learn the craft. And there are people who will eventually, you know, walk away from trading. And if they do, you know, at the end of the day, you still have to do what's best for you in every situation. You know, I don't think anything is necessarily bad as long as you're doing what you need to do and you're doing it for the right reasons, right? But yeah, we're gonna take this green today and walk away, smile. You know, almost 900 bucks here. We did take a small loss at the end, but we're gonna take the green, smile, come back tomorrow, and look to be very disciplined again. And tomorrow we need to be on time. Today we're a little late. Well, yeah, take care, stay safe, stay green, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, check out the links down below. And this is exactly why I'm the people's champion, right? 2 hours ranting here and hopefully inspiring and motivating a few people, going through the calendar, showing the good, the bad, the in-between, keeping it real, keeping it transparent. And the time is going to come where I do share more things that I'm doing in my personal life again. Right now, we're a little bit more quiet on some of the things that we're doing, but the past store is going to keep pushing forward. All right, so hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and tomorrow again. Catch you guys in the next one.